All right, we're going to finish up the second day of 7.3. We're going to continue what we were doing before. We're just going to find cosine, sine, and tangent of these values. I'm going to go a little bit quicker just so this video is not as long. So I would recommend that you take the time to practice these three and then come back and see if you're doing it correctly. So cosine 2 pi over 3. I know that that is in quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, I have only sine being positive, so I know cosine is going to be negative. The reference angle is going to be pi minus 2 pi over 3. So if you change this to 3 pi over 3 minus 2 pi over 3, you're left with pi over 3. Gosh, I can't write a 3. And pi over 3 is just the same as 60 degrees. So I know cosine of 60 degrees, here's 60 degrees. Cosine is 1/2, but we know it's negative. So then my cosine, again, make sure you use your original radians, 2 pi over 3 is going to be negative 1/2. And then sine of 225. 225 is in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, tangent is the only thing that's positive, so I know my sine value will be negative. I'm going to find my reference angle. Quadrant 3 reference angle says to do the 225 minus 180, and that's going to give me a 45 degrees. 45 degrees for sine, if I go back up here, sine is rad 2 over 2, but it's going to need to be negative because of the quadrant that it's originally in. So sine of 225 degrees is going to be negative rad 2 over 2. One more, tangent of 2 pi. So when you go to find tangent of 2 pi, one thing you're going to notice, it is not in a quadrant. Okay, 2 pi is 360 degrees. So 2 pi is basically here back at the start. So we did one revolution, and that's the same as 360. So I'm basically asking this point right here. So we do know if we are on a unit circle, not that you need the circle, but this distance here is r is equal to 1. So if I'm trying to find this ordered pair, I'm going to go over 1, and I'm going to go up 0. And then just like we said before, this first term is always my cosine. The second one is my sine. So if I'm trying to find tangent, I'm going to need to do tangent of 2 pi is equal to sine of 2 pi over cosine of 2 pi. But again, we are not on a quadrant. We're on one of the axes. So sine of 2 pi is 0, and then cosine of 2 pi is 1. So we're basically looking at 0 over 1, and 0 over 1 is just 0. So tangent of 2 pi is 0. Anytime you're on one of the axes, you will want to just find the ordered pair, and you know that every point on the circle here is 1. Over here's a negative 1. Here's down a negative 1. And just do that same thing. Hope this helps.